It's finals week at the University of Virginia, and I have a nasty cold, so that's fun. So a few days ago, I did a spoiler-free review of Gillian Flynn's Gone Girl. Yeah, I assumed her name was pronounced Gillian, but I guess it's Gillian, so that's cool. But yeah, please go check that out if you haven't already. Um, and if you don't want to be spoiled for the book or for the movie, then stop watching this video. Go watch my old one. But if you don't care about spoilers, or if you just can't get enough of my beautiful face, then keep on watching. So when I told my mom that I was reading Gone Girl, well, the first thing that she said to me was, "Amy, I have that book at home. Why'd you pay money for it?" Uh, but then she said, yeah, I could tell where that book was going, but I really liked it anyway. But I have to say, I did not see the twist in this book coming. I guess my mom just reads more mysteries than I do. I was really surprised. I mean, I guess it had crossed my mind that maybe Amy had faked her own disappearance, but I didn't guess why she did it, and I had no idea. I was really surprised to find out that her diary entries that we had been reading for the past 200 pages were all fake. So while reading Gone Girl, you get the sense that Nick might not be trustworthy, that he might be lying to you about a few things. But I don't think I've ever read a book with a more unreliable, manipulative narrator than Amy. Halfway through the book, you're forced to rethink everything that you thought that you knew about her. Halfway through this book, you're thrown into an entirely different book. That's some weird Inception nonsense right there. Wow, Gillian Flynn, what a dick move. Well, a dick move, but a genius move. She took this idea, this very simple idea that people who are overly suspicious about everything like me think about quite often. What if the people in your life that you think that you know really well, your family, your best friends, your significant other, the characters in your favorite books, are really not who you think they are? Maybe they've been lying to you, deceiving you this entire time. If they're really good at it, then how could you ever find out? Of course, most people aren't smart enough to pull off a complete deception like that, but Nick's wife, Amy, is. She's an evil genius. Alright, I guess scratch the word evil, because this book is about real people, it's not about wizards or orcs. So we'll say she's a psychopath. She has some sort of dangerous mental illness. But how'd she even get to be like this? She grew up wealthy, her parents loved her. They even wrote a series of books based off her called the Amazing Amy series. But maybe that's the key. She grew up with everybody thinking that she was the girl in this book series, but it wasn't really about her, it was just this sweetened up version of her. So for her entire life, people thought they knew her when they really didn't. Now, maybe that's not a good excuse to frame somebody for stalking or rape or murder. Yeah, Amy's done all of those things in her life. But if people assumed that she was too nice and perfect to do any of those things, then she knew that she could get away with them. It makes you think, well, if everybody could get away with a crime, would they commit those kinds of heinous acts? That's a question that I think is too deep for me to answer right now. So while I was reading this book, I felt like I had a really weird relationship with Amy, because, well, you always feel a tiny bit of a connection with somebody who shares your name. My name is Amy, Aimee, but still. My natural impulse was to like her even just a little bit. But really, how could you? She's terrible. But she's also highly intelligent, and she has this, what I think is a pretty rational fear, and she resents that her husband fell in love with the fake Amy, and that when he met the real Amy, he fell out of love. And I can't say I don't empathize with that at all. That happens in a lot of relationships. So I'm going to read you the passage that had the biggest impact on me. And I would say probably for a lot of women who read this book. And this is the real Amy. I was playing the girl who was in style. The girl a man like Nick wants. The cool girl. Men always say that as the defining compliment, don't they? She's a cool girl. Being the cool girl means I am a hot, brilliant, funny woman who adores football, poker, dirty jokes, and burping, who plays video games, drinks cheap beer, and jams hot dogs and hamburgers into her mouth, like she's hosting the biggest culinary gangbang while somehow maintaining a size 2. Because cool girls are above all hot and understanding. Cool girls never get angry, they only smile in a chagrin, loving manner and let their men do whatever they want. Men actually think this girl exists. Maybe they're fooled because so many women are willing to pretend to be this girl. Gotta say, these are some of the truest words I've read in a while. I always see girls putting on this act at parties, at bars, just on the street, and I've done it myself. But then, after dating somebody for a while, he's gonna be surprised when you get upset that he talks about his ex all the time. Even though he insists that he's not really in love with her. And he might say, well, I thought I finally found somebody who wasn't gonna get upset about this. But guess what, guys? You're never gonna find that girl. Because girls are human beings. And human beings get upset over dumb shit. But Gillian Flynn really recognizes that characters, like people, are never completely good or completely bad. Even though Amy is an awful human being, she sometimes can be completely right about something. And Gillian Flynn also takes murder mystery tropes and just chucks them all out the window. No damsel in distress, no psycho male murderer, no detective with boring background story that we don't care about. I remember that at the beginning of the book, I found Amy to be a boring character. Nick intrigued me a lot more. But that's because Amy wrote her fake diary entries to seem as stereotypical as possible. She wanted to be that passive wife constantly worried about upsetting her husband, the cool girl. But in this review, I've barely talked about Nick at all. Like, what could I say? He's an awful husband even if his wife wasn't a bitch. He has a mistress who's 11 years younger than he is, and he is constantly getting schooled by his twin sister, who he claims to respect, even though she's a woman. But when they get into a fight, he still blames all the female race on their disagreement. So, in other words, he's a lot like a lot of bad husbands, in fiction and in real life. He's the typical character in this book, not Amy. This book has gotten a lot of attention for its controversial ending. So when I heard about that, I expected something really fast-paced and dramatic. Somebody's gonna get knifed, clearly. Knifed in a very vital organ. But no, actually, Amy decides that she's captured the hearts of America so well that when she returns from her disappearance, Nick will have no choice but to stay married to her, and she accomplished what she really wanted, which was to have Nick love her again. So she comes back, frames her ex-boyfriend for her disappearance, and kills him. Obviously does that before she comes back. And Nick starts plotting his revenge. Obviously, he does not fall back in love with her. But then he finds out that Amy is pregnant, and he realizes that he can't go anywhere because he needs to protect this child, who's probably Damien from The Omen. So let me read you the last few lines of the book. Nick doesn't have it down perfect. This morning he was stroking my hair and asking what else he could do for me, and I said, "My gosh, Nick, why are you so wonderful to me?" He was supposed to say, "You deserve it, I love you." But he said, "Because I feel sorry for you." Why? Because every morning you have to wake up and be you. I really, truly wish he hadn't said that. I keep thinking about it. I can't stop. I don't have anything else to add. I just wanted to make sure I had the last word. I think I've earned it. So, I don't know if that tells us that maybe deep down we're supposed to feel bad for Amy. She's just this irreversibly broken person that wants to be loved and understood. But I don't know. What do you guys think? So that's the end. Or is it? Really? Gillian Flynn went on The View a few years ago and hinted that she might be writing a sequel, so I'll link that below. So maybe the sequel is the real reason why we didn't see Amy get knifed, but I don't think so. I think that an ending like that probably just would have been too easy for a book that's already blown your mind into little bits. And with this ending, nobody really wins. Yeah, Amy's back with Nick, but she knows that he doesn't love her. They're just stuck together, like a lot of married people, which is cheerful. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this review. Hopefully a little better than last time. I'm slowly learning, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on Gone Girl in general. A few things to think about. What did you think about this twist? What did you think about the ending? About Amy? About Nick? About his twin sister Margot? Um, did you like this book or not? Thoughts on the cool girl phenomenon? And if Gillian Flynn writes a sequel, what do you think it'll be about? I'll probably put this review on blast over the internet after the movie comes out. But until then, look forward to more book reviews and shenanigans by me. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye.